Toddler communication is its own special language, one that isn't always intuitive for parents. Here are some tips for parents to make talking to toddlers more effective and less fraught. Give clear directions. When talking to toddlers, the way that you communicate is just as important as what you're trying to say. The clearer the directions, the more likely you are to get the desired result. Be specific when you give directions, and don't assume that kids know what you're talking about, even if it seems obvious to you. To us, it might seem obvious that put your shoes away means take your shoes off and put them in the closet. But to a toddler who lacks the knowledge or attention span to fill in those steps, the direction can be confusing. Toddlers are also easily distracted and can get overwhelmed by strings of instructions, making it less likely that they'll complete the task as directed. If you'd like your toddler's help cleaning up, you might be tempted to say, "It's time to clean up. I need you to pick up your toys and put them away." Instead, try breaking the instruction into smaller requests, making sure to offer positive reinforcement along the way when kids do as they're asked. For example, "Okay, please pick up the blocks and put them in the bag." Then when that's finished, "Great, now pick up that green book and put it back on the shelf." Label and validate their feelings. As a general rule, toddlers don't have much control over their lives, and that's good. If they did, the world would resemble a Godzilla movie. But as their brains develop and they become more independent, that lack of autonomy can cause friction. Kids' desires and feelings are real and valid, even though you can't always let them have their way. When kids get upset, whether it's about something understandable like a skinned knee or losing a favorite toy, or something that seems ridiculous, are you seriously crying because your water cup is blue and not red? It's important to remember that toddlers are people. Tiny, adorable, irrational people, but still. For a child who's just learning to make sense of the world, those experiences and the feelings that they provoke are as intense as any an adult has. Kids need to know that you're taking their feelings seriously, so it really helps to label and validate how they're feeling. This can be as simple as saying, "I know that you want that cookie right now. I can see that you're mad." Showing your child that you're taking their feelings seriously and helping them put words to their emotions can help diffuse potential tantrums and make it easier for them to explain their feelings more effectively next time. Another way to honor toddlers' burgeoning independence is to offer choices instead of issuing declarations. Whenever it's reasonable, try giving kids limited choices. For example, when it's time to get dressed, you could say, "Do you want to wear your tiger shirt or your dinosaur shirt?" If a child is lobbying for a treat, you could say, "Well, we can't eat cookies right now, but I can offer you some fruit. Would you like blueberries or strawberries?" Finally, sometimes letting your child's will prevail is an appropriate way to keep the peace. Pick your battles. Sometimes, as parents, we'd like something to happen, but we don't need it to happen. Choosing what is and isn't worth going to the mat for will also help kids understand that when you do decide to draw the line, it's important to listen. Keep it consistent. Toddlers like repetition. Whether it's watching the same movie 500 times, asking you to read a beloved book over and over, or demanding to hear a song again and again. Annoying as it may be to parents, repetition helps kids to learn, absorb information, and make sense of the world. Consistency in the language that you use is important. Using the same language and backing it up by keeping the meaning consistent makes it easier for kids to know what to expect, and it means that they're more likely to understand and listen to what you're asking them to do. To paraphrase Dr. Seuss, this means that parents should say what we mean and mean what we say. Make sure that you can follow through with the direction before giving it. Staying consistent and predictable helps toddlers understand that. For example, when we say this is the last book, it really is the last one. Consistent language works best when everyone is following the same playbook. Parents should make sure that they're on the same page around language and rules. That is, 5 more minutes needs to mean 5 more minutes, period, regardless of who's saying it. You can also share language you use at home with other caregivers, like babysitters or grandparents, or even your child's teachers, especially if there's a specific behavior that you're working on at home. Saying, "Hey, this is something we say at home when this behavior comes up," can help underline the rules and the values that you're trying to communicate, even when you're not there. Positive attention. A red-faced parent yelling, "Stop that right now," may not be quite the same as a smiling one offering hugs and praise. But to a toddler, attention is attention. When kids are misbehaving, it can be hard not to show your frustration. But when parents give big reactions to bad behaviors, they may unconsciously be giving kids incentive to keep acting up. As parents, we often give a lot of attention to behaviors that we don't want to see. Instead, parents should focus on praising the behaviors that we do want and try to redirect kids to more appropriate actions. For example, if a child is drawing on the wall, instead of yelling, "Don't color on the walls," Try telling your toddler what you want them to do, like, please color on this piece of paper. Offer praise when they do what you've asked. Heaping positive attention on desirable behaviors, like listening, helps to reinforce them and makes the undesirable ones, like smearing yogurt on the carpet, less appealing. Be specific about safety. Repetition, consistency, and clarity are especially important in situations where there's no room for misunderstanding. Doing some preparation when things are calm and kids are receptive can help. Asking kids who are verbally capable of doing so to repeat important directions back to you, and then praising them when they do, can also help to reinforce the message. For example, before heading out to the park, you might say, "Okay, remember what you do every time before we cross the street?" and ask your child to respond with, "Hold your hand." In the moment, make sure to use clear language that's specific to the situation. For example, if your child is close to the street, just saying "stop," a word that most toddlers hear several thousand times a day, isn't likely to get the immediate response that you're looking for. Instead, you could try "stay on the sidewalk." Likewise, if something is hot or sharp, instead of the often used "don't touch that," try "dangerous, hands up." Take space when you need to. When it comes to toddlers, even the most perfectly conceived strategies quickly go out the window when bad moods are in play. What works when kids and parents are calm and receptive can be hard to stick with when your toddler is melting down and your patience is hanging by a thread. In those situations, it's good to step back and either tag in your partner or just take a break and a breath before coming back. Moments when kids or parents are both upset are not the best time to press your point. Give yourself some grace. There are going to be times where you lose your cool and snap. It's something that we all do, and it's something that no one feels proud of. But instead of beating yourself up, think of it as a moment to model positive coping skills. Parents make mistakes, but those not-so-proud parenting moments can actually be opportunities to model important emotional skills. Maybe you got frustrated and snapped at your kid. You can always go back in a little bit and say, "You know what? I made a mistake a little while ago. I was feeling frustrated and I spoke a little too loudly, and I'm sorry." Acknowledging mistakes and making amends is a great way to show kids how you'd like them to behave too. The Child Mind Institute Family Resource Center has hundreds of articles and guides to help you support children who are struggling with mental health, behavior, or learning challenges. Find the link in the description below. I'm Dr. Laura Phillips, a clinical neuropsychologist at the Child Mind Institute. If you find this video useful, please like and subscribe to the channel below.